We don't want to control your country. But if you can't control your country, we'll take out the problem.
And he said, we want to help you, and we want to make sure that you're good to us, in not so many words, but to not be the occupier. And I think that that is what we're seeing here, the scale of this operation.
As I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place. Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. They always say boots on the ground. So we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it.
President, are you explaining the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
Yes, it's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are. We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world going and invest billions and billions of dollars.
You have about 100,000 Americans dying of drug overdose, most of those drugs coming from Venezuela and other places, Colombia certainly as well.
That's actually not true.
That's not true that 100,000 Americans.
The majority of the deaths by drugs in America are the result of meth and fentanyl. Almost none of that comes from Venezuela.
So you're okay with massive amounts of cocaine traffic coming into the United States from Venezuela?
No, I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is if we want a real drug strategy, if we want to stop fentanyl and meth, which is largely what's killing our children and devastating our communities, then we need a real drug strategy to do that. But actually going and deposing a foreign leader and capturing them and now saying we're going to run the country, as Donald Trump just said on Saturday,
he was indicted by the U.S. Justice Department. So we should just not follow through on action and indictments of our own Justice Department to bring him to justice in the United States. Otherwise, what's the point of these sorts of indictments?
That is not at all what I'm saying, right? There are thousands of people who are indicted. But just because somebody is indicted, does that mean that we go and depose a leader and actually say we're going to run a country?
Right off the bat here, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think I know the name of the person who arguably is the biggest beneficiary of Donald Trump starting an inexplicable war in Venezuela this weekend. And again, I do think it's arguable, but there is a good case to be made, I believe, that the single biggest winner in this whole situation is a person named Karen Bud Phelan. And the reason you can tell she is the biggest beneficiary of the Venezuela invasion is because no one within the sound of my voice right now has any idea who that is. Karen Bud Phelan. Who? Have you ever heard this name before? Has anybody ever heard of this person? No? No, nobody knows who this person is. Karen Bud Phelan is the #3 official in the Interior Department under Donald Trump. She also served in the same department during Trump's first term. Karen Bud Phelan's family has a ranch in Nevada, and there's a company that wanted to build a huge mine, a huge lithium mine in that part of Nevada. And lithium mines, among all their other many splendid things, they do take a ton of water. So during Trump's first term, while Karen Bud Phelan was working at the Department of the Interior, Karen Bud Phelan's husband sold the water rights from their ranch in Nevada to the mining company that was going to build this big mine. They said, we're going to pay you $3.5 million for the water from your ranch. The only catch, the only contingency is that the full deal only goes ahead if our mine gets approved by the Interior Department. If our mine doesn't get approved, then the deal's off. You can see there's a real financial incentive there, right?
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump Doctrine. is all about securing the national interests of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, to try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know,
engaging these
honestly,
vast
what you're talking
reparation
about right
schemes.
now.
What I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become more prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuelans
but the
will
woman
be richer
running Venezuela
and
right
safer
now is
and
part
more
of the Maduro
secure and
regime.
better off. There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections to be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away. To create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm saying,
we're not going to let.
So is the U.S. going to have new elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
Okay.
And we're not going to let a country fall into the hands of our adversaries.
So both Democrats and Republicans are frothing at the mouth at the idea of another forever war. And of course, Republicans are pretending like kidnapping the leader of a sovereign nation is totally normal. Nothing to see here, bro. We do this all the time. And as we know, Venezuela has the largest deposits of heavy crude oil on the planet. And we know the Don Roe Doctrine, which goes back to the Monroe Doctrine. The Trump administration is very, very happy to go ahead and colonize and put our heavy boot over the whole Western Hemisphere, because why not? And the fact that Donald Trump and his goons went into Venezuela, there's no reason to believe that they're not going to go into other countries. We don't even have to speculate. They've said this on national television. You know, they're talking about Cuba. They're talking about Colombia. They're talking about Nigeria. They're talking about any nation that dares stand up or that we just want something from, whether it be oil or mineral resources. Talking about Greenland, Canada. This really could get dangerous. And Donald Trump, for all we know, has dementia. So he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But the fact that they've gone this far is a good indication that they're not going to stop, especially with the coming midterms. You know, the Republicans are going to get wiped out. So we also got to question how free and fair they're going to be. And if Donald Trump's going to try to pull something where he's like, actually, we can't do elections. We can't do the midterm elections because I have to be emperor forever. Donald Trump will be king, the autocrat forever, and it will never come to an end. I mean, basically, that's what we're dealing with, a complete lunatic. And the cult is falling apart. Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't have enough. But look, the petrodollar is at stake. The United States is not in a good position, and so we're frailing and kicking our feet and doing everything we can to stay on top, but the natural order of things is change, and change has come for the United States.